Hello everyone, welcome back. I do have a double page scrapbook layout for you today featuring the Evergreen collection from Close to My Heart. Now when I first saw this, I immediately thought outdoor, camping, hiking, anything in the mountains. This is going to be perfect year-round for me, so I've got tons of ideas. But it does also lend itself well to a wintry, Christmas. It has like the pine boughs in the shape of snowflakes, which I think is very pretty. And then of course the music sheet is gorgeous with Christmas papers. But what I did is I typed in the word snow in my phone, because most of my pictures are on my phone, and it pulled up this photo right here of my son and his girlfriend Desiree sitting in a snow cave looking super cute. And when I saw this, I was so excited. I literally put this down on the paper, took a picture, and texted a bunch of my crafty friends because they would get my joy, right? When it's so perfect, it looks like I staged it. So they were up in the mountains. We've got pine trees, we've got the tans and the greens, and I am going to create a winter themed layout with this collection. Now these two are my favorite, so I printed them larger, but I've got lots of supporting photos in a smaller size. These are all double-sided, but I've already got them flipped over so you can see all of the beautiful patterns. And the color scheme is acorn, black, French vanilla, mink, mocha, pine, sage, and shortbread. So these are like your, main pattern papers here, and this one. And then the rest are these great neutral patterns. So I love this music note paper. When you bring this into Christmas layouts, I think it's just stunning. I'm really happy this one is in the paper pack. And then we have these, like I said, they're more neutral patterns. The other side is this acorn with the little dots and all the different colors. And then the other side of the music paper is this one, which is the mink color with just a simple kind of a plaid design. And then you always have the branding strips that you can pull in and use on your layouts as accessories. This is the coordinating sticker sheet. So we've got like snowflakes. We are all beautiful in our own way. Winter wishes, cold hands, warm heart. I think that might be really nice to include onto this layout. And then you've got word stickers, baby it's cold outside, cuddle weather. That one's perfect too. So lots of things I can pull in from the sticker sheet. I did go ahead and get the workshop option because I love all of the little bonus pieces. You get 4 sheets of additional exclusive pattern paper, so 2 of each pattern there. These are not double-sided because they're designed to create the layouts in the workshop. And then you get tons of cardstock in coordinating color. And then the die cuts. So journaling spots and all of these. I'll show you here's the second one too. I love these. I'll show you the layout so you can kind of see how they use those pieces. So this is if you want to follow along, but you can see all these little bits and pieces they have going across the layout. And then these great little doily pieces there and all of the fun journaling tags. And you can see where they've included the extra titles there. Oh, here, where it says remember. Just very usable bits and pieces. So this was a no-brainer for me to get the workshop. There's also some extra paperboard shapes. You can see there's pine cones, a little postage stamp, and a ton of pine boughs, which are really, really pretty. Let me scoop all this up and grab my VersaMats. I've got lots of photos, so this one definitely had to be a double pager. Now, I'm not sure if I will have this framed out in the white daisy or if I'm going to use one of those specialty pattern papers. But if I do use the specialty paper, I'm still going to need this as a base because I cut a whole bunch of strips. When I can't decide what pattern papers I want to use, this is something I tend to do. And this design really lent itself well to cutting into a strip. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with these. But I might have this pattern paper. This is again one of the specialty papers, and I love that little distressing around the edge and that delicate pattern on the sage background. But I don't want to waste any of this because I only have 2 sheets, so I'll want to gut some of that out. So let's see how it looks on the white background, and then we can bring this one in and compare. Before we lay out our pattern paper strips, let me just kind of show you what I'm thinking for my photos here. So these two are my favorite. Desiree's sister loves to dabble in photography, and she'll do little mini photo shoots with Hayden and Desiree, and I think this one is just hilarious and really captures the fun in their relationship. So this one I was going to crop into a square, but I couldn't. So I wanted to have, you know, two 4x4 squares on opposite sides, but due to the, you know, composition of this photo, I wasn't able to, so I got it as close to a square as I could. And I love to do that. You could do two 4x6s, but I love to create nooks and crannies for embellishments and titles, subtitles, etc. So then we've got a couple 3x4s up here. This one is not a true 4x6. It is a 4x5 1/4, and those measurements do all include the white border. Now I've got more 3x4s. I'm going to include those in a 4x6 flip flap, so those will kind of be together. These will be underneath, and I might even be able to put some more photos in there. So now that I know where my photos are going to go, I've got all of these great patterns to work with. And how do you know, what to put where? And some things that I like to consider. So I did create a sketch for this layout. If you're one of my customers and you're in my private customer appreciation Facebook group, spoiler alert, this is going to be our November sketch challenge. So I did sketch it out ahead of time, but I just want to share some things that I consider when choosing my pattern papers, choosing which ones I'm going to use, and then also where to put them on the layout. So I am going to have my title down here, and I'm going to put an embellishment cluster. I'm going to kind of frame this corner in, and then maybe use this little area up here, since we have this nice little spot, to create another one. And then I'm going to create one here kind of wrapping around. So that creates that nice, flow that's going to draw your eye across the layout. But since I am putting my title down here, I have to consider, what is it going to show up best on? So I think I'm going to start with this pattern here on the bottom, because my title's really going to pop. This pattern's not going to compete with my title. And I definitely want this one here, I think, behind the photos. So let's just kind of roughly place these. Now this is a busier pattern and this is a busier pattern. So I am going to put this green, pine green pattern in between those two. Oops, I've got both of my pieces here. And basically whatever I do on the left side, I'm going to repeat on the right side. So you can see here, I have strategically cut this paper to capture a specific part of the design. And I'm going to have a 1/2 inch border around the top, outside edge, and bottom. So using the measurements on my VersaMat, you'll notice I need to trim these down 1/2 inch, but let's just kind of play around with this for a second and see what we're going to, or how we're going to like this. And we can bring our photos back in here. Looking at this, although this is going to work really well for my title as a background, I feel like it's top heavy and we need some of those darker colors on the bottom. So let's go ahead and try that. This is the darkest color. Let's put that one down. Let's just bump these up and see how this is going to look. I think if I position my photos high enough, I'll still be able to have this as the base background for my title. So we can just kind of bump those photos up a little bit and still have room for the title underneath here. And then too, it depends on what, if your title is a lightened color, it's going to show up against a dark color. I just didn't want a busy pattern competing with my embellishments and my title. I do like this better. Having this mink color on the bottom certainly wasn't bad, but do you see how having this darker strip just visually balances things better? Or at least I think it does. I don't know. You guys may think I'm just making this stuff up as I go, but it makes sense to me. Now the question is, do I want to have this in this sage background rather than the white? So I'm going to pause the camera and I'll swap this out and we can see what looks better. So there it is with the sage background, and I think it's fun. Let's mix it up and go with something different. So what I'm going to do is ink up all these pieces, and I'm going to gut the center out of this one here. So I'm still going to need this white daisy in the background so I have something to adhere all my strips to, but let's go ahead and cut this out. I went ahead and got that done, and now I'm going to use Mocha ink to ink up the edges of all my paper strips, especially the patterns here with the lighter edges. It makes such a big difference. Also, I have some very exciting news. I know many of you have been anxiously awaiting on the waiting list for the Creative Design Team membership to open up, but we are officially open and accepting new members just through November 20th. As a member, you have unlimited access to exclusive video tutorials that take a deep dive into different techniques, monthly creative challenges, behind the scene exclusives that are super fun, weekly tip videos, and so much more. Our classes are technique-based, and since there's 7 different designers, you really get a unique perspective on each of those techniques, and you will learn ideas to utilize your stash in fun and creative ways. I'm thinking early Christmas present for yourself. Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? And signing up now, you guys have access to all of that back content, and that's a lot of fun and creativity to explore. Okay, we can get back to our layout here. All of my paper layers are inked up and adhered down. I've got my photos in place, and I went ahead and pulled some embellishments. So this is one of the bonus die cuts here. You can see it says Project 1 from the workshop, and I love my doilies. You guys know how much I rave about these. I have some thin cut doilies that are just gorgeous. I also pulled these stickers. So I mentioned earlier I wanted to use this one, Cold Hands, Warm Heart. And then these like snowflake inspired greenery stickers. I think these are really, really pretty. These were sticky, obviously they're off the sticker sheet, so I use my anti-static powder tool for embossing and just apply powder to the back, and it reduces the stick. If you don't have that, you can, do this on your arm or your clothes, but it will get kind of linty if you do it on your clothes. But the stickers are nice because they're cardstock weight, so they are not flimsy. So you can pop these up with some foam tape if you want to add some dimension, and they do hold their shape really well. So I know I want to use these, and then I also had that little word sentiment strip that says cuddle weather. I want to incorporate some trees onto this layout, and I was thinking I would use the triangle trees. If you caught my catalog walkthrough, I showed these because I'm super excited about it. I used the stencils to create this background, and I was going to use it as a whole background, and I still could use half of it, but I cut out a few of the trees. Now this is you can get the bits and pieces, you can just get the stencil, but it does also have a stamp set, and then there's triangle dies that come in this set too. So I have got lots of plans for these triangle shapes, and you can do trees, mountaintops, do them in different colors. I just think this is going to be a really versatile, fun product. So I was thinking of using these, so I cut out a few of them. It's kind of funny. I just recently shared a layout where I had no ephemera and had to get really creative with my embellishments. And for this layout, I have too many options. Or is there such a thing as too many options? I had too many choices. But these trees, I cut a few of those out, and these are stenciled with sage for the background and pine for the detail layer. So you can use the stencil, or you can even stamp these. And I like it. I do really like it. But I also have 2 of the Evergreen Cardmaking and Scrapbooking stamps, and you can see that these have this kind of, I call them pencil pines or tall skinny pines, and there's a cluster of trees, a small tree, and then 2 different sized trees on this one, and they just match the trees in the background so perfectly that I'm thinking this one might jive with this layout a little bit better. But these trees are so fun and whimsical, but I'm going to save these for another project. If you want to see these in action, my friend Amy over at Paper Therapy with Amy just created a beautiful layout with this paper pack and these trees. I will have that listed in the description box below, and check it out because she did a really great job. Her layout had me wanting to run to my craft room and start creating. Before I start placing my embellishments, I've got a little snowflake here too. There's a couple of these from the paperboard shapes. So before I start placing all my embellishments, I do want to stamp out some of those trees. Let me scoot this over. Just to make this easier, I'm going to use my mini Misty here, but you don't have to have one of these. Let's stamp the row of trees first. So this is the Evergreen card making stamp, which I always say I use them interchangeably. When they say card making, it's usually a little bit smaller scale so that it, is an appropriate size for a card. So we'll just pick that up with our Misty Door, and I have both sage and pine ink because those are coordinating colors with this collection. So I'm going to make trees in both of those colors. Let me rifle through my White Daisy scrap bin. Actually, I think that one's going to work right there. And perfect. Look at that, like it was cut for it. So we'll just hold that with our magnet, and then we can, let's go pine ink on these guys. These little pine trees make me want to scrapbook some of my hiking photos. There is a new stamp with the national park badges on there. So I know I have some from the Rocky Mountain National Park, and I think it's going to go great with this paper collection. So I'm going to do that next. Let me go ahead and die cut these out. Okay, so what I did is the pine trees in the small cluster, and then I stamped a pine and sage from the Evergreen Scrapbooking, and these have trunks that you can add a little bit of brown to. These are green, so it's just a solid inner portion. So I used my color pencils. These are Colorista pencils by Spectrum Noir, and the Natural Landscape has a lot of browns in there, so I just grabbed one of the browns and quickly just colored in those trees because they were white and I felt they needed just a little something something. So now we can add these to our embellishment bits to work with, and I can always create more trees if I need to. So I have 3 of these little snowflake stickers here, and whatever I do on one side I like to repeat on the other. So I need to make sure I have enough to spread these out. So maybe this one here, and then we can just kind of see how this is going to come together over here. And then typically, or technically, this could be a title all on its own. Cold Hands, Warm Heart. But I have another idea for my title that I want to incorporate. So this will just kind of be a little subtitle. And then let's put our little snowflake there. And then maybe, so we've got some different trees that we can work with. I talked about using this little place up here to create a little embellishment cluster. That's pretty cute. I think I like that. I have another one of the doilies here, so I could bring this over, and then there's a journaling tag from the sticker sheet, and I don't have a lot to say about these photos. I was just going to put, the date and where they were, but there isn't, a big story. I mean, I can journal about their relationship and whatnot, but I document them enough to where I feel like I can just kind of put the place and, the date on this one. Let's move the doily down here actually and see what that looks like. I do like that. We can still add this tag here, and I am going to add some flip-flops, so I don't want to overlap that. So something just to be mindful of. And then we have these trees here. So this might put some nice height here. Let's stick this tree here. And I love to have things behind, I say this all the time, but to really make your embellishment clusters, all feel like they belong and everything's just blends beautifully, put some of them behind your photos and then some on top overlapping the photos. And then I always like to have something kind of anchoring them. So we've got these trees here, right? Let's maybe try this one here. So rather than just kind of have them hanging there, not grounded, I would put a snowflake, or something like this over the top of the bottom. And yeah, that looks really nice. So we still got this guy. We can kind of put him maybe up there. I keep wanting to put something over that photo, but I know I'm going to use the flip-flops. Let's add some more green on this side. That works. I am in the process of organizing my embellishments. So what I've been doing, these were all in like a 12 by 12 sheet and they're all craft colored, and I just was popping them out. So I ordered a binder and some sticky adhesive sheets. My friend Jama and Janice both store their embellishments in those binders, and I think I'm going to try it. Well, I am going to try it because I already ordered them. But anyway, I just happened to be sorting through here. Where is it? And so I knew that this was in here. And the craft color is going to go nicely with my color scheme here. So I wanted it to say Sweet Memories. And you remember I wanted to put this one on the bottom because I knew I was going to stamp the word memories onto this and it wouldn't show up because it's not really going to show up here. But I can stamp it on a piece of paper and then cut it out. But then, going through my embellishments even further, this is why it's good to know what you have in your stash. This is from the Cape Cod collection. It's the, it was a very ocean inspired. You can see all the shells and stuff. And I had these stickers stuck to this bag with these. But look at that. It's the word memories and it is mink because there was mink in the Cape Cod collection, just like this paper. So it's perfect. I mean, I could have, I have lots of stamps, I'm sure, that save memories, but I might as well use up my consumables first. So it was pure luck that I found that word memories and just kind of thumbing through there. I wasn't even looking for it, but I think that that's going to work. I might trim that off a little bit shorter so it sits in there, but that is going to be my title. Just a few other design concepts you could go with if you didn't have a lot of journaling, or let's say you wanted this to be your title and that was enough for you. You could use this spot to put in some strip journaling. And if you didn't have, you didn't have any need for the journaling tag over here, you could put another photo or just, more embellishments there. There's so many different things. You could put more trees up there, but like I said, I am going to use that for journaling. But I just want to point those things out because we don't all have the exact same supplies or the exact same, set of photos. So you could use those other spots, how I just suggested, as potential layout design ideas. The workshop did come with a bunch of these paperboard shapes. So there's the pine cone and all of these sprigs, and there were a few little snowflakes. There's some white sprigs, and I want to add some of these pine cones. Now there's a stamp set that actually has the backing to this. So if you were putting it on, light colored paper, it would show up very nicely like that. But I think I'm going to use my stamp so I can create the background shape also. But let's tuck some of these sprigs in here. And then we'll put some on the other side. The stamp set in the Evergreen Cardmaking workshop has the sprigs very similar to this. So I kind of want to put some here coming out from under this snowflake, but these are the same color as the background, so it's not really showing up. So I might cut some from sage because that's going to, have some separation from the background. We also have these snowflakes. And then I did purchase the additional die cut sheet. So these are separate. These are meant to go with this collection, but you get a whole bunch. Oh, look, there's craft colored pine sprigs in here. Maybe we can try those because that'll definitely stand out. And they just pop right out, nice and easy. So that's an idea too, and it introduces that craft color over to the other side. We've got some hearts too. That might look very nice on this layout. So let me add one more. You do want to, these are very, delicate pieces. So you don't want to go too crazy, but they do pop out nicely. As I say that, I'm struggling. There we go. Let's do one more. I think that looks good. And then maybe some of these snowflake guys. One little guy fell out. We could add some of those to the areas where it's kind of like the darker background. I like it. This is the Evergreen card making workshop. So not to be confused with the, where I just put it, card making stamp. The workshop is like a whole kit where you can make cards. And this is the pine cone sprig. If you caught my catalog walkthrough, I shared lots of card ideas using this. But so I've got some left over because I was already creating a bunch with this. But it does have the pine cone die. There's the top layer that gives you like this piece that I punched out from the coordinating dies. But you also get the background layer and then a pine sprig. So let me, I know I got some in here, not very many. I put those to good use. So this one's cut out from Mocha paper, and it's fun too if you do contrasting colors. Actually, let me show you on the card in case you didn't see my catalog walkthrough. So here's one in, just like I showed you, Mocha on Mocha, and I added some shimmer brush to it. And then this one is Mocha on acorn. So you have, the two-tone, which actually you can really appreciate the details. And then there's those pine sprigs that come with that. But I think they're just so fun, and you can just, I got these so I can use them on cards and layouts. Let's see how this Mocha one looks because we've already got it. Actually, I do like that. So we'll just add that little guy there. And this is just a background. Let's see if this fits. This is the punch out here. They look like they're the same size. Will this work? Actually, it's not exact. Maybe I have it backwards. So it does fit. So some of these are bigger So obviously the bigger ones aren't going to fit that little background, but the smaller ones are the same size as the background from the die cut. So that's kind of cool. I also have some hearts. Now this is not from this collection, this is from my stash, but I thought this would be cute over here to introduce more of that craft color to this side. But that Mocha pine cone, this is the only Mocha on the whole layout. So let's add a little Mocha ink to this little heart here, and we'll make a two-toned embellishment. And that's what's so fun about these paperboard shapes in the craft color. You can add ink. They take the color really nicely, so I can make this. I could have made it green if I wanted to add more green, but we need one more pop of Mocha. It's going to be subtle, but sometimes that's all you need. So let's scoot this down. We'll put the heart in the center there. And yes, that does offset that pine cone on the other side nicely. Originally, I had the pine green pattern paper separating these two patterns, but I moved it down to the bottom so it kind of anchored the layout, but I still want some separation. So I've cut a 1/2-inch strip of pine green cardstock. I'm going to slide this in here just to see how it's going to look. It's 1/2 inch, but only 1/4 inch is showing. You know what? Let's use pine glitter paper instead. I think that that's going to add a nice little touch of sparkle. But yeah, it's subtle, but I think that that just little visual break does add a lot. We need a bow on our tag, so let me fill this up with some glue. And then I tied this bow with a little ribbon that has some pine stitching detail to the outside edge there. I did mention using a 4x6 flip flap, but with the amount of photos I have, I can get away with just one 3x4. So make sure, figure out which photo you want on top. And I do want this one showing on top. And I'm going to adhere the other photo, and then make sure, because this is going to flip up, make sure it's not upside down, depending on how you orient your flip flap. If you flip it out to the side, then, that's not an issue. But if you're flipping up, you need to orient the inside photo correctly. So this one's going to sit on the layout itself, and then this one will go on top of the page protector. When I, put it into its page protector, I will adhere that. Let me hold this up so we could check out the details in the embellishment clusters. And isn't that photo cute? Hayden's just a crack up. So everything I have used, I do have listed in the description box below. And you guys know the drill. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. And if you're looking for more outdoor camping inspired type layouts, then check out this playlist right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon on YouTube. Bye.